So I was going to law school, but I really by the third year I'd kind of done everything I was doing. I sort of finished without knowing it because I was clerking for this woman. I clerked for a couple different people, but this woman, one woman was doing, she was doing. I'm not gonna start this over. So by the third year of law school, I was really kind of out of it. I was really into comedy, but I was clerking for this woman who was doing briefs for appeals for death sentence because they were death sentences that come back in. And so I didn't realize I was getting school credit by working for her and interviewing prisoners at Lorton, which was the Washington, D.C. jail. So I'd interview these people who were sentenced to death to prepare the briefs that she was writing to get them possibly commuted off the death sentence. And so I got credits. I didn't realize I had enough to graduate. I didn't care because I was done. I was done with law school. I just wanted to go into comedy. I was going to move to New York City. And I told my parents that I was going to New York City. And my dad, he acted like he was a gut shot, man. He was just completely, he looked like Lee Harvey Oswald, when Ruby got him. He was slumped over. He was not happy. My mom screamed, "What are you, crazy?" Yeah, apparently. I'm a comedian. So I went to New York City. I moved up to New York City. Well, a friend of mine, he was a drummer in bands in New York City, and he'd had it. He'd missed a couple of things. He didn't become the drummer for the East Street Band. Max Weinberg beat him out, and he was just burnt out on the music scene. So I want to get out of New York. I said, I want to get into New York. So we just switched apartments. He took my D.C. place. I took his New York City place. Now, his New York City place was at East 9th Street. East 9th Street, 1979 was a rough area. The whole East Village was rough. His place was a basement place. He left a .22 caliber gun there. He said, "You may need this." Didn't seem like a weird deal to me. So I had this apartment. It was down underneath. It was really a makeshift kind of apartment, and I don't think it was legal. It was just kind of like these weird walls, and my bed was right by the window, which is in this well, right? Because I could see people walking on the sidewalk if I laid in my bed. And it was so hot in the summer one night that I was crazy. I had the window open, but there was this gate that you'd have this lock gate to keep people from coming in. Well, I thought if I open this lock gate, I'll get more air. And I remember sometime early in the morning, I felt this thing in the bottom of the bed, and this guy was crawling in the window across the bed, and I whipped the gun around. He goes, "Sorry, man, thought it was my place," and he backed out. That's New York City quick, man. And I had a car at the time. I had this car. I had this like '69 Dodge Dart. And because reliable transportation will get you work as a comedian. If you're not funny but you got a car, you can get work, especially back then. So, but the car, one day I came out, and this is the East Village thing. I came out and I got to drive my car away, and it just went clunk like this. And I came out, and they'd taken the two wheels off the passenger side and just put on blocks of cement. So I just drove the thing off. So I go, I don't know, I got to get tires replaced. How would I get tires in New York City? So like 2 days later, I hadn't gotten tires, and I came out, the other two tires were gone, and both the trunk and the front hood were popped, and a battery was gone, and a spare tire, and things were gone, and it started disappearing. Like I come out another day, the seats were gone, They just started, it was like Kiana Squatzy, man. The street literally ate the car. One day there was just a body there, just sitting there, and then one day that was gone. I don't know what happened. So I'm living there, and my girlfriend at the time, she was her dad was a head physician at the Italian embassy. She was Italian, and she was going to go to graduate school in Italy, and she was living with me for a while before she went back. And so one night I was doing a gig out in Jersey, like a one-nighter in Jersey, Bill Maher and I, and she called me. She knew where I was going, this Jade Fountain, this place, and she called me. This was no cell phone, just like a landline call, and she's like, Reggie, there are rats in the apartment, rats, get home, rats. And so we finished the gig, and we drove home like maniacs, and I got home, and I come into the apartment, and there were rats. She was sitting in the bed, and there were rats sitting all over the apartment, and she was screaming, these big rats, and I was half drunk, maybe three-quarters. I was kind of drunk, and I just picked up the pistol. I started shooting at the rats, and I didn't even think about it. I didn't think of ricochet. I didn't think anything. I'm just shooting at these rats, and eventually they all left. They went through this hole. They'd eaten through this hole in the bathroom, and I just stuffed I stuffed her cotton ball bag into this hole, and I came back in, and we started celebrating. We fired up the bong. I'd rid the kingdom of rats. I was once again master of the area, and all of a sudden there was a pounding at the door, and it was, "Open up, please!" Now I'm I'm high. I'm a little drunk. I'm laughing. I thought it was like one of my neighbors pulling a joke or something. So I did the line that I always wanted to do. I said, "You'll never take me alive, copper." And then there was kind of, "Open up, New York City police." And I opened the door, and a New York City cop came in. And I'm standing there with a bong. I don't even think about it. There's a gun on the table. He's like, "What happened?" He'd heard a call. He got a call because people heard gunshots and a woman screaming, right? So he came in. I started telling him the story. I got the gun. I said, "Shoot at the rats." And I'm not even thinking. I got a gun, unregistered gun. I got a bong. He says, "You were shooting at the rats with that gun?" I said, "Yeah." He takes the gun. He goes, "You'll need a bigger gun than this." And he left. He left with a gun. And I realized he was probably happy he didn't have to like deal with a dead body and, and that was New York City.